Sup guys, so long time no see. I have not really an update, but I just felt like I should do a review with a little bit of an update on the side. So just kick it all off. It's going to be a nice quick review of three different types of mesh. It's going to be first BuryMesh, StringKing, and then ChillaxCustoms. So first off is BuryMesh. I believe his name is Luke. He makes this stuff, and I used to have a piece of it, and it was South Beach colors, and it was a little stiff for my liking, and I didn't really enjoy it. It was a little tacky, and all in all, it seemed like a cheap way to do wax mesh. But he got in contact with me and said that he had improved the formula, so I decided to give him another chance, and this is it. It's just a nice simple white mesh strung up in my old Proton Plus with a nice bright red top nylon shooter, and it's a nice mid pocket, and this is pretty much strung exactly the same as my Proton Plus was in high school. I've been switching out pockets here and there, and then I decided to go back to the factory strung method slightly with modified improvements in the sidewalls. But all in all, this mesh he's much improved. It holds form, pushes in pretty easily. I guess I could do a ball drop. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it for face-offs. If you're a guy that's facing off and you want soft mesh, I would suggest getting something else. But if you're an attackman or anything like that, that doesn't really require a soft mesh, then this is definitely for you. It definitely throws like hard mesh and kind of cradles like soft mesh. So all in all, it's a really good mesh. Don't really have any complaints about it. It wasn't hard to string up. I didn't have to really pull it super tight to try and get it to the holes, because you would have to with this because the holes are so spread out. But STX made a good head when they made the Proton Plus, and the mesh matches up with it pretty well. So I'd have to give BuryMesh an 8 or 9 out of 10 for a score. I'd probably use it again, but for now it's just going to stay in my coaching head. Next is going to be StringKing, and this stuff's pretty awesome. It's supposed to be a new revolutionary material. There's not supposed to be any, like, the material that, say, Chillax or House of Mesh or Stringer Shack. It's supposed to be completely different material that they use to weave it in. It's a new weaving process, and I gotta say, like, I've messed with mesh for a long time, and I have to definitely vouch for that. It's the way that they weave it is slightly different than how anybody else does it, and it's definitely different material because it's performance mesh. It's not wax mesh. It's not anything special like that. It's just mesh. Whatever coating they put the threads in when they put it through, it works. I've played with it in the water, and it's very consistent. I mean, BuryMesh was pretty consistent too, but that's wax mesh. This is performance mesh. It's supposed to be a totally different beast. And this is strung up in my one of my Nas X's that I lovingly call Cobalt. And first, like, the mesh definitely stands out on its own, but also I've strung it up with their custom strings, and I have to say that that's what stands out to me the most, is the quality of the strings. The sidewall string, it locks in. Like, if you start to make a knot, it doesn't shift. The knots do not move. I've tried my hardest to get these knots to shift, even the sidewall ones and the top string ones. Once you lock them down and move on to the next knot, they don't move. at all. So kudos, that definitely is a high standard for me, since I I'm a stringer. I string all sorts of stuff, and I hate it when a string will move or whatever after I've already knotted it like 2 knots before, and I'm just like, ugh. So StringKing definitely did a really good job with that. And then they use these small cords that they call shooting cords for like the shooting nylon, and it's basic. Like the only thing I can compare it to is cross lace, and it's literally the same exact size as cross lace, and it it feels like it, but it's much more tightly woven than cross lace is. And if you actually look on the inside, it's not like cotton or anything like that. It's whatever materials they use, like polyester or nylon fibers, whatever they use it the whole way through the string, so that it's nice and hard. I'm gonna try and request and see if I can get a spool of it to try out in a traditional pocket. That would actually be kind of cool if I could get that done. But so, and then they use a shooting lace for the bottom string, and it's not very it's long enough to get the job done. You don't in order not to do You won't be able to do a super fancy bottom string or anything like that. But all in all, I give StringKing a 10 out of 10 so far. Uh, just great mesh, great stringing supplies. The shooting laces themselves are slightly different woven than Stringer Shack or Chillax, so definitely try out StringKing Performance Mesh. Just get the whole kit. It's like a $25 thing, and you can pretty much customize everything except for the mesh. Right now they only have white mesh, and that's fine with me. I love classic white, but you can customize every single piece of string in this entire kit. So shooting cord, shooting laces, each lace you can get a different color. It's just customizable to the T, which is awesome. So 10 out of 10 for StringKing overall. And then here is one of my other NOSes. It has ChillaxCustom's mesh, and it's not really a review of the stringing because I got the stringing from LaxWorld for waiting on whenever the mesh got here, and it's supposed to be a crosshair design. So when you're looking down your sights on your weapon or whatever into a scope, it's supposed to be like crosshairs. So always keep your eye on the target, right? So I mean, there's no bleed. Like I believe he uses a dye, not like he doesn't use a what's it called, markers, as far as I know. So if he uses dye, this stuff, I'm surprised it's not bleeding all over the place. But he is very precise, if you can tell. And this is the same pocket except for one shooting lace less. It's the same exact pocket as the StringKing pocket, but it is, I believe, yeah, this is Chillax raw mesh that he used upon my request, because I've always been a Chillax guy. But so same exact pocket, just overall it kind of felt like my fingers were getting wet. Like, I don't know what it was. It just must have been the wax formula that he uses. But it's not really a complaint. It's just a fact that happened while I was stringing it. There was no flakage. That's another thing about BuryMesh too, if you were wondering. There's no flake. So I don't have flakes all over my pants or anything like that. So this stuff is really good. Like, it holds the ball really well, and it's not tacky. It doesn't really stick to your hands or anything like that. And it's a little stiff, but then again, it's 15 mil, so it's not going to be super soft. He sent me a few pieces of other stuff, but I'll get into that in a second, or in another video. But overall, this mesh, I'd have to give ChillaxCustom's design wise, I have to give them a 10 out of 10 because this is exactly what I wanted, perfect, and it looks awesome. And then for waxing, I'd have to give it a 8 or a 9 out of 10 because of the feel, but that doesn't, I don't feel that that affects my throwing or anything like that. It definitely doesn't affect my cradling, so that's good. And it strings well. Like most wax meshes, you really have to tug on them or whatever, but I didn't have to reach or anything like that, so it doesn't affect the mesh's consistency for stretch or anything like that. It just makes it waterproof and holds in the colors. So 10 out of 10 for design, and 8 or 9 out of 10 for performance wise. We'll see once I really get into throwing and whatnot with it. But thanks for watching, guys. That was nice, quick little. It was a nice quick little review of those three. And also, I'm gonna be doing something with the other stuff that Nick sent with the ChillaxCustom stuff. Be on the lookout for this because it's super wide leathers, like wider than I've ever used before, so I'm gonna have to do something special with that. He also sent me some other mesh. I'm probably gonna do a giveaway with this stuff, and he sent this really cool aqua with navy fade. I'll have to do something with that, and then his white mesh, and then he sent this 20 millimeter Gimalax raw that's coated. I don't know what to do with this stuff, but we'll see what I come up with. And so that's everything, guys. So please go ahead and check out these guys. I'm gonna try and put up the links for each and every one of these guys so that you can go straight to them and get the product if that's what you want. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, ask questions. I'll be more than happy to answer anything that you have. Thanks, guys.